Okay, today I would like to review a language learning series published by the Japanese publisher Hakusuisha. And Hakusuisha publishes a variety of language learning materials here in Japan. And the series in particular, which I want to talk about today, is the Express series. Express series has language learning materials for, I would say, at least 20 languages. They published these during the late 90s, more or less. And then they came out with the New Express, which is a renovated version of all of those books, plus new languages. And this was done within the last 5 years, 2007, more or less. This is a particular example that I have purchased, but most of these are actually available from the public libraries if you live in Tokyo. You can go to the Toshima Library here in Ikebukuro. But what I want to talk about today is how these books are organized, what I like about that, and then briefly how I use them. Okay, so this one is kind of a rare example because it's talking about interesting European languages. And so it's looking at, let's see, 8 languages here that are very uncommon, everything from Abkhaz to Romani. Always comes with audio, and that's what I like about these. Usually begins, here's the list of languages in this case, in English. Usually begins with some sort of background to the language. Here it's talking about Abkhaz, which is the language of Abkhazia, a disputed territory on the Black Sea. So it gives a little bit of cultural information, the pronunciation and script of the language, and then the main contents of every Express and New Express book are the dialogues. So usually there's 20 dialogues. In this case, it's a variety of languages, so it's only 3 dialogues per language. But and this is the way the New Express is organized now. You have the target language on the left here, the translation in Japanese on the upper right, and then your vocabulary on the bottom right here. The original Express wasn't arranged in this way. Also, there's a little cartoon here. I believe for a lot of the original Expresses, these are flipped, but I prefer this way actually because it's easier on the eye. The other benefit of the New Express series is the content is much better. It's much well, as you progress through the dialogues, of course, the content gets much more interesting, and the grammar and vocabulary becomes more difficult. So the original one, the text, the dialogue was a little bit boring, I think, for a lot of languages. After the dialogue, there's always an explanation of the grammar used in that dialogue. So here you're talking about nouns and pronouns. I'm sorry. Yeah, these are pronouns, aren't they? In different parts of the grammar, and then maybe some other example sentences and phrases. Sometimes there's drills, so not in this one. It's pretty much just direct content and grammar. But if you look at, for example, here's Malaysian New Express. This Malaysian one was republished in 2010, just recently. And so, for example, this is 3rd dialogue here, and usually at the beginning of maybe the first 10 dialogues, they put the pronunciation of the words here. They guide you in katakana underneath, and sometimes there are drills. So here are some drills here. where you match the correct adjective with the person, for example. And all these have audio files for them. Okay, so that's basically how the New Express is organized. Towards the end, recently they have been putting, let's see if this one, narrator's message, which is an additional content I think is great, because you can listen to the narrator's message in here and read the translation following that. And then there's a vocabulary list like this. Okay. And usually a map at the end, which I like to look at. Okay. So that's basically how the New Express is organized. Here is one for Thai, for example, which has a very different script. So they show you at the beginning an overview of the Thai script. And they go through the pronunciation in a little bit more detail, and the tones, for example. Here's one in Swedish. This one probably was a little bit older, it looks like. It's just giving you an idea of the first dialogue here. This one was published in 2007, yeah. So they've been working on these New Expresses for probably the past 5 years, I would say. And here are some of the more recent ones published: French, Italian, German, Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, Swedish, Russian, Thai, Chinese. And at that time they were planning Korean, Lithuanian, Dutch, Czech, Vietnamese, Hindi. And if you look here, they have, well, they're still planning those. Yes, you see the colors a little bit different. Okay, so so the next publishing planning day was in June 2010, and that's the one I showed earlier, the interesting European languages, Turkish. And you can see all these other languages in the New Express series. Hakusuisha publishes other things. One series is called Kototabi. Kototabi is basically preparation for going on a trip. It doesn't really have the dialogues in the same way that Express has, so I don't really use it that much. The Express series also has some really good audio books, which I can show on another occasion. Basically, where you can listen to a story and read it, and then read the translation in Japanese. So in the next video I will show you how I use Express series. I generally use my iPad. For example, this is Korean, this is the old Express, and I just put the dialogues onto my iPad, and I listen on the iPod, and I work there. So in the next video I'll show you exactly how I do that.